ESTACA was sort of an accident. Well, as we go along, one of the themes here is just a people theme. So I would go run it. I guess you have this idea in your head, and then when you run into people, you can kind of pull. You know, right. It's not like a total accident. You're kind of out thinking about stuff, and then somebody comes along, and you see if you can make a deal. So one of the open houses, we had English involved that year. This girl brought one of her friends to open house, and her name was Elisa Piat, and she was from France. She worked at PPG. Yeah. So after open house, several days, she called me and she said, I want to come visit you. I said, okay. So this attractive French girl comes to my office and says, I go to school in ESTACA, and I want you to eat. My English teacher wants to meet you. I'm like, you're an engineering student, right? She says, yeah. I said, well, what is your English teacher? My English teacher wants to meet you. Or talk to you. And I said, well, I was getting ready to go to France on I was working with NATO on some stuff. I was going to be in Paris. I said, well, she's in that area. I said, yeah, well, we worked it out. I said, well, I'll just spend a half a day and talk to him and go by. That's it. So I went, got over there. They lost my luggage. It was loud and energetic, and she was just all over the place, and she was enthusiastic. So they actually had a person that taught them English, and she was kind of, I don't know if they had a director of internships or not back then, but she was, I think she was kind of in charge of that too, and so she was trying to get this deal going. And so we had lunch, and kind of got set up. I'm trying to remember how it went. Yeah, and got this set up, and we agreed that we try to find a student who was Frederick Doge, eventually to come over to UAH and start a master's degree and work with the first class. And I met with them for a few hours, and they went up and put me on the bus, said take this kid to Gare du Nord railway station, and I was going on the TGV to go to Belgium, and that's how it started. Annette Bonnet was the lady's name. She was about that tall, and she was very, kind of like Edna Mode.
Yeah.
Total exact. No capes. And she was totally like that. And the directors, they're very Cartesian. French guys, very straight. What was that guy's name? I can't remember. He was gone after a couple of years, but she remained. But we came back. When we came back, we instituted that year, which I think was 90. I want to say it's 98. So all the French guys came over for open house. They came for open house that year, and we were making a tilt rotor autonomous aircraft, and their job was to do the CAD. And like they were transferring all these CATIA files back and forth and changing them, and they finally got it all straightened out the night before open house. The file, and it was all ready to go. And they said, I said, how long to make it, the model? And they said, 48 hours. I said, we need it tomorrow. What can we do? And they said, shrink it. I said, give me a 24-hour version. So we came back. The airplane was like this big. I may have a drawer somewhere. So the whole airplane was like about this big, like a matchbox airplane. But when the French guys, they came over and saw, they were like, oh, there it is. It was like total. That was when that stuff was brand new, 20-something, 15 years ago. So we took the winning team back to France that year, and I was so excited. I had medals made, like this little thing that was like, and that's when we met Tissier. She was there. So that's how the whole France thing started. Was this girl showed up in open house and said, I want you to meet my English teacher. We quickly found some common interests. I think the second year, we hooked up before Christmas, and we sent the director in France a little thing to read, and we broke into the meeting of all the deans and provosts, because that's the only time we could get them all together. And we did a live connect with France, like in 1990-something, when it was like unheard of, live. And they talked to each other back and forth. And I think that voice actually went over the internet. I don't think we conference called this French guy. He came in on vacation or something, read his script back. It worked. We never were able to reproduce it again after that. It worked. It worked pretty good because it's really kind of a similar size school to us, similar interest, I think, kind of. they say passion in France. I don't know if it translates right, but their students like to build stuff, and